Good evening, traders. I want to start with this layout here. Show us what's happening in the morning. 8:15 ADP employment changes coming out. 8:30 initial jobless claims are coming out tomorrow morning. Heads up on that. So that we're expecting weaker numbers than expected. So, you know, how's the market going to interpret the information? I don't know. Um, so beyond that, we were closing right at very critical supports going into the net numbers, and we still haven't filled any gap on SPY yet. So I would think it's probably going to be negative either way. So we'll see what happens. Services PMI final. So we've already initially gotten the read on that. So in my opinion, that's probably not as important because we've already gotten a prior read on that one there. And then we have ISM services PMI. So the service sector, how's inflation going into service sector, and I'm expecting that to come in weak. So let's see what happens there. Hopefully that doesn't come in line, but hopefully that's going to be weak. As far as the yield inversion, so basically we are still inverted in the yield curve, but we are right at parity. It wouldn't take much to, start, closing, uh, back into a normalized yield curve scenario. We're right at parity, so heads up on that. As far as that goes. Now, as far as SPY goes today, guys. So things that I'm looking at here, this yellow line represents the anchored VWAP from excuse me, from August 1st. Okay, that kind of represents the anchored VWAP. That's our critical line in the sand here in the markets. You notice how it's kind of following right in line with the bottom of this gap. So my primary scenario for tomorrow is to go short for if we break into the gap tomorrow. So heads up on that. That's my primary scenario, and that would finish this. This is actually support down here. This is active as support. Okay, so that kind of falls in line with, you know, this here. So these support areas right here. So see how it has come down in this area down here. So I'm thinking for a test of that August VWAP sometime tomorrow, somewhere in this area, would be a very wise scenario. Uh, Qs. So basically, we are much weaker in the Qs. Okay. Uh, acting very. So we're already into that August anchored VWAP. I don't think it's going to hold. I think we're actually going to fill this other gap. There's another gap down here I forgot to draw in. So if any of these complete the cycle first, Qs will be it to the downside. So, for this complete cycle back down to these August lows, Qs would be the most likely scenario if we were going to finish that. So we have a few more days in the cycle all the way out to about the 9th for the down cycle to conclude. And typically the last few days are the most violent. So, we could very well be down into this last gap area before the 9th. So we want to definitely keep that in the back of our mind as a primary scenario here. So we're downtrending on all the short-term anchored VWAPs, the purple, the blue, and we're right here at the yellow as we speak right now. I forgot to change the colors and I got them wrong. Okay, Russell, IWM. Okay, we're right here, still above the August anchored VWAP. I didn't change these colors either. I'm going to have to go back through and do those. I'm getting a little bit mixed rings. 2 weeks ago, we were in an uptrend. And now 1 week, the past week worth of anchored VWAP, we're in the downtrend. So heads up. So we got, definitely change in tone in the past week. Okay. Cycle wise, we still got time in the cycle, down cycle. We have not filled any gaps on the Russell, and we still have this. Russell tends to always fill its gaps, so heads up on that. You rarely don't see gap fills in the Russell, so heads up on that. Diamonds. So diamonds have been holding out the best. Heads up on that. We got a gap down here that has not gotten filled. This is not the same scenario as the Russell, so I don't know if that can actually fill that or not. We are below our short-term 2-week and 1 week anchored VWAPs, on the bearish side of potential trend here. trying to hold support dearly here. We have tried to break the all-time new highs, and that's a failed pattern so far on that. Okay, RSP, that's your equal weight S&Ps. I do want to point out, see what we're doing here. We broke out, we did a back test. Okay, we did our back test. That should have been a continuation to the upside, which failed. Now, based on our gained fans, we're in a very critical decision point here. Very, very critical decision point on the markets. We're right into this prior all-time high. We did the back test. So this is going to be very important tomorrow morning, whether or not. So I've got an alert here. If we start breaking that, then I'm going to be going short if we start breaking that. So heads up on that. That's your equal weight S&P 500. Okay, individual, your Megatech. So 1 week we're in a downtrend on our anchored view app. 2 week we're flat. We are defending the August anchored view app. We filled a gap today. Okay. Nope. There are no other gaps down through here. Okay, heads up that. So we filled the only gap that we had left. The only outstanding gap got filled today on Apple. So heads up on that. There are no further gaps to the downside, bouncing right where it possibly should. Okay, so definitely keep that one on the watch. We do have an event coming up next week on Apple. Tesla, start with that. We broke out of this downtrend. We are above 1 and 2 week anchored VWAPs. We were in a downtrend 2 weeks ago. Now we're in an uptrend currently in the current week pattern, and we defended the August anchored VWAP. So heads up on that. This is the most bullish mega tech stock that I've found out there so far. Okay. Microsoft has been an outright dog here lately, guys. So it's getting hit with the semiconductors. So heads up on that. So things that I'm looking at here, we're really completely flat on this week's anchored VWAP. We are still below the August anchored VWAPs. This thing here is really acting really weak here. But we are potentially coming into a cycle low. Possibly even tomorrow. We should be coming on the daily time frame anytime now, coming in a potential cycle low for a relief rally here on Microsoft in theory. Let's see what, and if we do, if that is the low, that would lock in a higher low. Okay, right at a critical support, right where you should actually start finding buyers in Microsoft. We'll see what happens on that. Amazon. Okay, Amazon still above the August. Okay, 1 and 2 week supports are broken, but we are potentially in a potential minor phase up wave. You see how this is the primary wave is potentially we're running out of time, so you're probably not going to get a lot of follow through to the upside on Amazon. Google's just looking horrible. Google's double. We're already back to those August lows here on Google. So far, we should have been finding buyers, and we're late cycle now for even any type of support at this double bottom. So I would be looking for some sort of relief bounce in that one because of the cycle dates and everything. But I think it's going to be limited, and actually this will probably be the worst. It'll probably be breaking first. I can actually put an alert down here. If it goes below that, it'll be the first Megatech probably to be breaking down if we do see a continuation in the breakdown of the markets. Okay, other ones, Meta. It's acting pretty good here. Right here at the cycle low date, we're starting to see a relief rally back into the August. So heads up on that. We might be finding some buyers into this, so be mindful of that. We might be trying to support that here. Okay, what other ones am I looking at here? AMD. It's like the other semiconductors. It's still below the August anchored VWAP. Bearish pattern. Okay, and looks like it's going to continue to be bearish. So heads up on that. SMH. Same thing, very bearish. That's your semiconductors, SMH. Still acting very bearish here. And actually, we have, see this breakdown pattern here? So as of today, we broke, we came up and we failed to break out. So we have had one test. In theory, generally when I see a candle like that that failed to break out, I'm actually leaning to the bearish side for a continuation to downside. So my primary thesis, this is a bearish chart. Semis are likely to drive us lower tomorrow after the news comes out. Okay, other things. XLS really doing well here. Okay, XLS doing extremely well right here. Okay, so there's no problems with it right here, right now. So keep a close eye on that one. Other ones I'm looking at here. Uh, XLP broke out today. We had higher, above average volume on both of these days, and we are in a breakout. You have to go out weekly to see what we're doing here. XLP, you see this prior trend channel. So we're actually breaking back up into that channel here on XLP. Typically, that is a defensive move in the markets. Like I said, above average volume was coming in. Even on the big sell-off day, we had above average volume that actually pushed us up into this channel on a blood fest day there Tuesday. So we had a bloodfest day, and they pushed it into the channel on that bloody day, suggesting that this is probably going to have some life. Ideally, what I would look at, see how we have a triple top right here. I would think, well, probably that would be your first resistance, So you just put a trend on that. In my opinion, you're probably, that's probably your first resistance up here. Your first main test for this pattern. Okay, guys. So we come up into that. So this is a bullish pattern. This is a defensive pattern. So in my opinion, even though we've just crossed into that, which could very easily fall right here. Okay, I'm not saying that, but uh, it does seem to me the way we closed. And if you go on 5 minute here, see we closed right near the highs of the session. Okay, so it's I don't have the volume profile on here, but it does look like it might be supported. So heads up on that. Other ones I'm looking at here, XLC could be breaking down. Let me go over here on the daily. XLC, you're back down to the 20 moving average. The August anchored VWAP. This pattern looks like it's ready to possibly break that. So the problem we have going on with Twitter in Brazil, it seems to be having problems. You might want to look and see what the main contributors are to XLC. I don't like the way this closed. This is a hammer candle, suggesting continuation in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. It could be, you never know. Hammers can be reversed. But right here, right now, it looks like a continuation right there. So heads up on that. XLB, nothing really standing out on that one. XLI, that's another one I want to look at. XLI, these are your prior all-time highs. We came up, we back tested at the XLI right here. Okay, that's your industrials. Heads up here, we're right here, back testing at critical support. So be very mindful of that. This looks like the pattern could actually play out to the downside. So heads up on that. You got a gap down here. That kind of lines up, if we have a brutal end of week, coming down to that trend line's right here, that makes sense to me. So heads up on that. Industrials could get spanked about before the end of the week here. So heads up on that. XLV. Major potential change here. Look at this. This is wow. Boy, this could be that could be a real telling candle right there here on XLV. So heads up on it. Typically though, in a sell down, healthcare is defensive. But if we do get the next leg in this market, the things that had been holding us up, they're the ones that are going to fail. So that's why I'm looking at industrials. That's why I'm looking at XLV. The tech's already broken, so I'm looking for other things in the market to actually that have not participated in the sell-off to follow the next leg down. And XLV and industrials look like very possible that they could be doing that. Okay, XLY, it kind of looks like right here in this topping area. Okay, and it looks like XLY could very well be coming down and filling that gap. See, we got a big gap here on XLY. So yeah, I'd be leaning more for the gap fill here personally. So heads up on that. The way this pattern is played out here, and now we're playing out here, I'd be leaning more towards this, a back test or fill of that gap. So be mindful of that in your trading. And the last one I want to talk about, XLI. There's been money rotating into the safety of industrial. Well, that's XLI. What was the energy? XLE. Utility. That's XLU. That's what I wanted. Sorry. So XLU still acting as a defensive play here, guys. Gold volume 1%. And so some things I'm looking at here. We don't have on the we're squeezing higher, but net for net don't have a lot of buyers coming in up here. So be mindful of that. I like seeing solid green candles right there. Like if you look at XLV, that's different. No, maybe not. No, XLP. See how like XLP? There's actually buying coming into this. This is not a pattern that I want to be. This is not a pattern I want to be shorting. But XLI looks like they could be another leg lower here in the markets. So a lot of these areas that have really run, we might start seeing rotation in the next move down into those other areas. They're going to start breaking supports. So be very mindful of that. That's all I got to say. Please like the video if you like it. Retweet it on Twitter if you get a chance, or X, whatever you want to call it. And please retweet it if you can. And, leave some comments below if you guys are seeing something that I'm not seeing. Ideally, I'd like to see us come down lower. I mean, there's no rule saying that we have to. So I made my money on the upside today, actually. So good luck, and we'll see you in the trading tomorrow.